Nubian Soul Child says, hey, coach, do you think God gives you a glimpse of the person who is meant to be your spouse, even if you're not ready yet? Perhaps he reveals this person to motivate you to prepare for a relationship. Great question. God will never distract you with the glimpse of someone if he knows that you're not ready to see who that is. Most of us are not prepared to see the future because we're still in the present. And the present is pruning us to become the people that's able to manage the future. If God was to show you who your spouse was right now, you would be so distracted. You would be so focused on that. You will lose sight of God. You will lose sight of yourself. You will lose sight of your purpose because you really want to be with this individual. You're going to be on Facebook. You're going to be on Instagram. You're going to be looking all over the internet space, looking for this person. And then you'll start assimilating to their life and trying to find them. You're going to be on LinkedIn, seeing where he works. You're going to be on Instagram to see what thoughts follow him. You're going to be on Facebook to see who he went to school with. You're going to be all over the place. So God will not do that if he knows that you're going to be too consumed with that. Now, will God give you a glimpse of what type of person you may have? He may not show you the individual, but you'll be having clues of what type of person is for you. I'll give an example about my wife. I told you about the Jamie Foxx show and how I was just so attracted to Fancy. I didn't know why. I was like, when I was 17, 18 years old, and I saw Fancy, I was like, yo, that's the type of woman. It was just something in me that was like, there's just something about that type of woman. Something about it. And then as I began to live through life, I began to wonder, why do I like tall women? No, not the short women. I'm like, why am I just naturally wanting a tall woman like Fancy who's a model? Usually, my homeboy Brandon can tell you, people can tell you, I was saying back in the day, I'm going to marry a model. I said that. People laughed. Of course they was going to laugh. They're looking at me and they're hearing what I'm going to say. Like, man, you think you're going to marry a model? I said I'm going to be with a model. To the point to where people's going to be, models are young. And you 26, 27, you gonna really be with an 18, 19-year-old? I said, I don't know. I'm just telling you what I know in my knower. Next thing I know, I run into my wife. And if you go on my page or you go to her page and you look at her pictures, you're gonna be like, she looks just like Fancy from the Jamie Foxx show. And she's 5'9" and she models to this day. So what am I saying? God, who you are, how you're wired is already inside of you. Like an orange is already inside of an orange seed. An apple's already inside of the apple seed. The bark, the roots, the branches, everything about what that seed can produce is in that seed. If you open up the seed right now, you couldn't see the bark, you couldn't see the roots, you couldn't see the branch, you definitely couldn't see the oranges. But if it's planted in the right place, and that seed begins to blossom, then you will begin to see that everything that's in that seed is now outside of that seed. The same is with you. If you allow yourself to be planted in your purpose, that's planted in the presence of God, and you begin to be productive in that thing, then everything inside of you will branch out of you. And then you begin to say, I always knew I liked them 6'6". You might like them 5'6". You're going to be like, why was I always drawn to dark skins? Or why was I always drawn to light skins? That's what I mean by God will give you a clue, because the clues are already in you. He's not going to give you clearly who the person is, name, date, address, birthday, etc. But he will give you what he already knows you're going to have. So before you was even formed in your mother's womb, you was already packaged with all the things that was going to be markers and directors to who or what your purpose pieces or purpose person is. So do you think God gives you a glimpse of the person who is meant to be your spouse? No. I don't think that in most cases, don't get me wrong, in most cases he don't, because most people ain't ready for that. Even if you're not ready yet, no, he's not going to do it. If you're not ready yet, he's not going to show you. Perhaps he reveals this person to motivate you to prepare for relationship. Jesus should be your motivating factor. God should be your motivating factor to be ready for relationships, not a person. Because if you wait for a person to motivate you, you won't be motivated into the person that needs to be the person for the person that you want to be motivated for. Hope to help.